Everyone. Author Talk is at a new time today at 2. You guys know me, Amy, here with Sandy and Russell, and our guest this afternoon is Manning Wolfe. So everyone say hi.
Hi. Hello out there in Facebook land. So, yay, it's Monday afternoon. We'll have to remember not to say Monday morning. So it's already been an awesome week just getting started. I'm so excited. And Amy and I are going to be talking this week about launching next week. Next week, we launch our membership site with a webinar, all this stuff going live. And I'm so excited. So excited about it, nervous about it, want to run and hide about it.
Now, you're offering something special on these signups, aren't you?
Oh, we'll be offering it free for a month.
What will you be offering?
The whole membership will be free to everyone for the first month. And then month 2, you have a choice. Everybody will have a choice of staying free and being limited to what you get, or being the middle level and having all the recordings. You have access to all the recordings. Yay, football.
I know. I'm at a cigar bar, so if you hear some screams, there's a soccer game going on, and that don't mean that someone scored.
They don't want to call it soccer. They want to call it football. That was a big.
I'm not calling it football.
It's soccer.
Okay. And then for our membership, then the third level, the top level, will be live everything. And that means the courses that we're currently doing will be included. It means that we have once a week a call where we talk a specific topic. It's a live call every week in addition to the courses. Plus, you have access to all the previous courses and all the other stuff. And so I'm real excited about it. And remember, I don't know if you remember, beginning of 2018, I said, it's time for me to give away my stuff. I'm going to put everything I've ever done, and I've been going through it all. It's a little overwhelming to realize all the stuff I've created for 17 years. However, I'm going to be putting it all there, putting it out for the world to see. So yay. So happy Monday. And the first thing we always talk about is, what'd you do over the weekend? So I'll go first. I worked on our taxes all weekend.
So that's why you were so overwhelmed, not by your project, but about taxes, right?
I just want to get passes, and I'm learning from this experience, okay? We'll not do this again. I've already hired the same guy that's doing our taxes to go do my bookkeeping for the year. So Michelle says, you'll be happy to know this, that end of December, we're going to go straight forward with doing our taxes for the year. And so learned my lesson going forward.
Well, I'm glad we got all that out on the podcast.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so Amy, your weekend, you had the week, not the weekend. So tell us about that whole week that you and Josh celebrated your birthday, your anniversary, and all the other stuff.
Yes, so we went to Cozumel and Progreso, Mexico on a cruise. And I have photos to share of you guys that aren't my friends on Facebook, so you guys can see my lovely weekend. So this is when we got to Cozumel, and let me change it.
You know, you really need to work on your shyness, Amy. You got to come out of that shyness.
I'm not shy. This is my lovely husband. I have to put this in here because he took it.
That's actually a pretty good picture.
It's a great picture, and you do have a lovely, good-looking husband.
I do, yes. This was my view, which I love. I like going to the back of the boat and seeing all the water kick up. So this was my view, and it was fantastic. I loved it. It was good. It was rocky. The water was rougher, but it was cool. We got to see the dust that came in. We got to see that like pass over us. You know, we meet so many interesting people on the cruise and stuff like that. So I met some amazing people and heard some really cool stories. So I really it was great. I like meeting these people.
I do too. And I love it on the cruise when you really feel like you get to know people really well on the cruise.
Yeah, we spent 5 days with them.
Yeah. Exciting. So now you're back and ready to go to work, right, Amy?
Yes, ma'am. I have been at work 9:30 this morning.
Yay.
I'm all excited about it.
So Amy and I are making plans now to get together and get some work done.
Rolling.
Get stuff rolling. So Russell, your weekend.
I spent the whole weekend writing because I'm real close. I'm real close on a rewrite. I know, Manning, you know what that feeling's like.
Okay, when
all of a sudden it starts happening, right? It's exciting.
Did you get my text after I read your 3 chapters that you sent me?
No, but don't talk about it right now.
Because you didn't respond.
I didn't get it.
Okay, well, I'll resend it. Okay. Because I want you to have it. And I'm not going to say it here because this was for you only. So.
Well, that means, Amy, there's a 50-50 chance she'll say it before it's over, right?
Yeah.
Manny, tell us about your weekend. It's more exciting, except for Amy's.
A big week. I had an anniversary as well that we celebrated here in Austin. And I had a book launch at Book People here in Austin. And I took some photos around the pool of different people reading my book for my social media promos. There's one of my neighbors reading my book. And so I'm thinking coming weekend might be my 4th of July because so many things are reset. So I can, starting on the 4th, maybe I'll have a few days off until the weekend. So I might reverse it. I couldn't tell which weekend was the 4th weekend because it's right in the middle of the week.
I think it's whichever one you choose to be the 4th weekend.
Or it's both. You could just do both.
Yeah.
Who gave you? Oh, this is for your anniversary, right?
Those are from Darlingville for my anniversary, and then we went to dinner and had a big night out. But that was the only time off.
So where'd you go to dinner?
Pardon me?
Where did you go to dinner?
We like True Lux here in Austin. We know the manager, and he always gives us a good little secluded spot. And it was beautiful. You know, the strawberry moon came up on the 27th, and we were there on the 26th. That's the book signing. To my right there is Jay Brandon. He's also a legal thriller writer. He lives in San Antonio. So they did a double signing with the 2 thrillers.
Now, what was his name again?
Jay Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, I am loving Green Peas. I told you that I got it. There you are, Book People again. Now, who's the 3rd person there?
That is Scott Montgomery, who is the head of Mystery People, which is a within Book People for all the mystery, noir, thriller, suspense. And he's a great guy. He promotes our books like crazy. He knows all the local writers as well as, you know, they send people through from all over the world and he interviews them and launches their books there.
So
Sandy, we need to get that guy on our podcast.
So for those people that don't know, Book People is the #1 independent bookstore in the country.
Right, and in the Southwest for sure, but yes, in the country.
No, I think it is I think it actually won that award. I remember something about that. But I know it is like a huge, huge coup to be part of Book People. So congratulations on that.
Where is it? Is it in Austin?
It's in Austin, yeah.
It's on 6th and Lamar, right across from the Anchor Whole Foods, the big one, that the corporate headquarters. It's right there. So
great place. I've been there several times. Usually I went there, always visited there when I went to the Texas Book Festival and would go over and visit them. But they're great people to work with. I mean, I've been real excited. So between them and the Twig in San Antonio, we had a book signing at the Twig a couple years ago, and I loved those people. And then in Houston, we have River Oaks Bookstore, which is my favorite. one of my favorites, because I also like Murder by the Book. And I was going to ask you, have you ever done a book signing at Murder by the Book?
I did. I launched my series there with dollar signs, the first in the legal thriller series. So I signed there. I also like Blue Willow. They are a nice bookstore.
They're Stephanie, Valerie. Yes, I met Valerie actually at one of the writers' conferences in Dallas, and had no clue who she was. So she told me. I met her dad actually, because he was the one was part of it then. So there was the original one, right? That's dollar signs.
First one, dollar signs.
Now, tell me where Merritt Bridges came from. Is she kind of like Manning Wolfe with another name, or?
No, she's much more glamorous than I am. She gets herself into a lot more binds than I do. She is. I chose the word merit because it's a play on words in the law. You know, the merit of an argument or the merit of a situation, and then bridges because Austin is full of bridges, and also because she creates these bridges with these clients and things that the dilemmas that she gets into. And she's a big advocate for women, and she there's a lot of that in the stories and in the books. But the majority of the book is about something that happened in my law firm. All three of the books have that base. I had a case in my firm that spurred me to write a story. The first one, dollar signs, is about, I had a couple of clients' brothers who owned an auto body repair shop. And by happenstance, it was on South Congress, and that property became worth millions and millions. And they were just lucky in the right place at the right time. And they signed a tiny little no carbon required lease, and without my looking at it, and wound up in a deal with a billboard company. And one day I was in a meeting with them, and the brother said, well, why don't we just burn it down? And I said, you can't burn it down. You own the property, but you don't own the sign. And so they ultimately settled with that company. The company was trying to take their land because it had an option to purchase in the back of that little tiny lease. But they, that image stuck with me, South Congress with a huge billboard burning down. And so that started the book. And then, of course, I exploded into something totally out of control.
What about the next book?
The second one, Music Notes, that came out of a story in my law firm as well. I had a down and out kind of musician, a Jerry Jeff Walker type, who passed away, and his son came in and said, he's my father. Well, you know, as far as we knew, the musician never had any children. And so a big fight ensued with people in LA over the royalties and the rights to his songs and stories. And so even though we worked all that out in real life, in the book, of course, the LA Baron is he's a Goliath of a man, and he's trying to overrule this small Merritt Bridges law firm, and things get out of hand again.
Wow, they always get out of hand when Merritt Bridges is around.
That's right. Well, it's no fun to read if they don't get out of hand.
Well, that's great. So I told Manning when we talked last week that I bought Green Thieves when she had the launch. And so I started reading that without realizing, oh, maybe I should have read the first two books first. So now I've got all three of them, but I'm still finishing. I'm not quite finished with Green Thieves. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that one. Then I'll go back and read them.
Well, they're standalones. You can read them.
Tell me that.
And it's nice to start with the first one because there's more detail about the background of the characters, but you don't need it. The stories themselves, the actual plot is based on what happens to these people that come into her office. So you don't need to know anything before. Each one of them can be read separately or only one.
Yay. Well, I want to say hi to a couple people real quick. Of course, Vola, our favorite person, employee of the month kind of person.
She is not employee of the month. Don't lie to her.
Because she was here.
No, I told her in person. I saw her on Saturday, and I told her she was fired. And it was my birthday.
Okay, so let's get one thing straight. The hiring and firing, you're not in charge of.
It's funny because it's my mother, and she.
I know.
Anyway,
So Bola is Amy's mom, and we have this discussion all the time.
You may have to get Manning to like arbitrate this.
Yeah, that's true. We do have 2 lawyers on the call today. So Bola, now's your chance. I did want to say hi to my friend Connie Dupre. She just posted hi and said she was watching. So thank you, Connie. I haven't seen you for a while. I see you just went to France, and I'm excited to find out about all that. Connie's been my friend for way more years than we care to remember. So welcome. Anybody else want to say hi? Just jump on my niece, Shauna, who normally is on her way to Houston area. So we'll see her on Wednesday. Anyway, now, what's next, Russell?
Before we get to Manning's latest book, I have a couple of questions to Amy about what's happening at Facebook, and I worry about this because I have some books coming out too. And I had a lot of success in promoting my book on Facebook by doing sponsored ads and that sort of thing. And then 2 articles came out this weekend saying that, number one, that news departments are reporting an 85% decrease of hits from Facebook. And another article that said that millions of people have over the last year and a half withdrawn from Facebook completely. So what's going on, Amy?
Well, so that's true. And I think it's hit harder more recently due to the whole privacy thing. I know it was like 60 million people have left because of the whole privacy thing. And Facebook just right now, the best way to describe it is like the fashion wheel. So you know how fashion trends they come and they rotate like a wheel. So 90s are really popular right now, and then eventually make it full circle, and they won't be possible or popular anymore. Social media is like that. So Facebook was at the top of the totem pole. Now they've had kind of a crash. So now it's Instagram and YouTube that are on top. More visual and videos that are getting more traction. So the 2 platforms that are made for that, you're going to get more traction on and things like that. Facebook right now, they're trying to come back because they've made it where you're in control of your newsfeed. So you won't see people's ads if you don't want to. You won't see groups that you don't want to follow anymore. You want to take a break from. You're in control of that. So that's pretty much why you're seeing such a decrease in activity and responses and engagement, but you're seeing an increase in that on Instagram and YouTube for sure. So you just have to watch trends of platforms and stay on the most current popular one.
How do we alter our within the next 6 months? The expected change, or how do we need to alter our publicizing within the next 6 months?
Right. So the best way to do it, since 6 months is a long way out, and we can only predict however 3 months out, it's best to be on all the platforms and have content on all platforms. And the ones that you're getting most traction on, or you're hearing the most news about. So Social Media Examiner's throwing out news every week, a couple times a week about Instagram, because Instagram's having new changes, new tools coming out, new things going on. So that's a really big platform right now. They're also talking about YouTube and changes that YouTube's making. So the ones that are in the news steadily, that are making changes and stuff that are popular, are the ones you need to be on. But you need to be on all social media with some content. So when the wheel starts turning, you have content on all your other platforms. You're not going to drop off and have to rebuild it. You're slowly building them, and then you can keep up with the cycle that it goes through. That's the best advice I can give you.
Amy, have you noticed that for free that's the case, but if you're paying for ads, that Facebook has had an uptick? I've noticed that for my launch, some of the ads that I ran did better than they did like 6 months or a year ago. They seem to be doing a tiny bit better.
Right. So if you're going to pay to play, for sure it's going to do better, but you're not going to see the best increase that you probably would have seen 6 months ago due to the privacy thing and the changes in newsfeed, because now I can control it. So if I don't want to see your ads or any ads, I can just put you not as see at first sight, and I can take that off, and then I won't see any ads that you do. So it's kind of like a hit or miss. If your target market is really, accurate and it's heavily on Facebook, then you're going to see a big increase. If they're switching gears and going to more Instagram and they're more visual and like not emotional, but they like to feel, seeing people's pictures make them feel a certain way and motivational quotes and things like that, they're probably primarily on Instagram, which you can run an ad simultaneously on Instagram, but it originally goes through Facebook since Facebook does own Instagram. It just depends on your market and how active they are and if they've lost traction or not. Different businesses have had a big spike in organic growth and other businesses have taken really big hits. So it just kind of depends on the industry that you're in and how popular you are on it.
I noticed also that all these bookstagrammers on Instagram have been contacting me and other authors asking for copies of the book, either through BookFunnel or print copies, so that they can review them, because there are, and if you hashtag bookstagrammers on your post on Instagram, it just goes everywhere right now. It seems to be, like you said, the popular spot.
Mm-hmm. Well, because people can also follow that hashtag too. So if people want to review your books and help you get
now exactly what hashtag did you just say?
Bookstagrammers. Instead of Instagrammers, it's hashtag bookstagrammers. And there are dozens and hundreds and thousands of reviewers, and that they only operate on Instagram, and and they follow that hashtag bookstagrammer.
What a great tip for the
that
day.
Is, and I had not heard that. So I
bet Amy would have said it next.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So good idea. Good thought. So
hashtags are important, people. Hashtags are important.
Have you been preaching that for years, Amy, about how important?
Yes, she has. And she's been telling us.
I'm going to put it on my phone right now so I don't forget.
And she's been telling us so with Twitter or Facebook, you don't want to use a lot of hashtags. That's really distracting, and they don't like, neither Twitter nor Facebook likes it. And on the other hand, Instagram loves it. You can do, how many can you do on Instagram?
You can do up to 30, and I recommend that you do all 30. Then you're going to hit different things.
I can't think of that many words to hashtag.
Yeah, you can think of a lot of words, Andy.
Well, just think of like different
picture Russell, and then I got lots of words.
Lots of words.
So the best way to do that, because Instagram does, you can do 30, and I would recommend doing that if you're wanting really big traction, is do the field that you're in, some related fields that you're in, some hashtags about what you're talking about. If you have a sale going on, doing things like that. But I mean, you can also make your Instagram profile more appealing by breaking it down into lines and using emojis and describing what you do. So, I mean, if you wanted to put that hashtag in your bio, Bookstagrammers, then they would find you no matter what, because that's how people search things. They follow hashtags now and everything like that. That's how I get traction on mine. I haven't posted on mine in 2 weeks, and I get like 15 new followers a day.
That is awesome. So thank you both for all that great information.
I guess someone either liked what you just said or scored.
Somebody must be a bookstagrammer in there.
Yes.
So now let's focus on you for just a few minutes, Manning, and let's find out. So you launched your third book. So tell us about that launch. What did that look like?
Well, I did an online launch as well as an in-store launch. And because this book has it's not a golf book, but it's set in the golf world because of this young golfer who wants to play the PGA Tour. He gets into a usurious contract with the bad guy, Brown Ozars, who's a money lender. And he signs a contract before he meets Merritt Bridges, the young golfer does. So then he brings that contract to her, and the two of them try to get him out of the contract without getting run down by Browno, who has, let's just say, interesting tactics. I don't want to spoil it, but it opens with Merritt hanging on a meat hook. So you know that somewhere he got her, and then the story of how she got there and how she gets out of that predicament is basically the plot line. But it is set in the golf world because we have this young golfer. So I've been doing some things around golf courses. I have a huge bag of golf tees with the name of the book on them for passing out. And so far, though, we've done a big online launch. And then I did a promo on my first book, Dollar Signs. I did a free giveaway on that book to help promote Green Fees. So I started with the first book and then hoped that people would like it enough that it would sell through to the third book. And so far that's working. I had 6,000 people get the free book in a couple of days.
That's awesome.
And
awesome.
I did do a stacked promo, which means I used several promotion services and stacked them up. I used different days for different ones. And then the main day right in the middle, I had 3 of them going at once. So I stacked promoted. And I also ran a Facebook ad where if they would get the book, if they signed up for my newsletter. And then I also ran a Facebook ad giving the book away through Amazon. And so I did a whole lot of activity around the first book to launch the third book. And then, of course, I had the physical launches with Book People, and then I have several more coming up. The book just came out on June 21st. So this is we're right in the middle of unfolding all this. And the book was free up until yesterday. So it's been interesting to watch that my page reads have gone up tremendously because I'm on KU, have gone up tremendously in response to this free book giveaway. So they got the free book and then people started reading through the other 2 books.
And that's one of the things I'm doing with the new book, Green Fees, is I'm doing the Kindle Unlimited there. So I like that because not, the other book is free, so that's fine. But the one that you're promoting, now you get paid for people reading the book. So I love the Kindle Unlimited and how that works. So congratulations.
Yeah, I think it's fair. That Green Dollar Signs is a couple of years old. So if I want somebody to take a chance on my series who's not found it yet, I think it's a good idea to give them a taste. I have enough faith in my writing and my abilities that they will keep reading. I think I've gotten some reviews that are outstanding, and then every now and again somebody goes, golf. I'm going, well, you got to be somewhere in the world.
I know. And I personally love the title, Green Fees. I didn't really connect it that much with golf until I started reading it. And I'm like, well, duh, green fees. You pay green fees when you're going to go play golf. So I love the title.
Books are a double entendre. Dollar Signs is about the money of the sign industry. Music Notes is about the music and
the musician.
And then Green Fees. Hopefully people are getting it now that I have 3. In the beginning it was like dollar signs, but yeah, so it's starting to take hold. The series itself is starting to get some traction.
And it does. There's a lot more you can do once you have a series, right?
Right, and you need at least.
Can you tell that to Russell?
I think you need 5. Some people that I know well say you need at least 5 to really kick it off, but you can do it with 3, but it takes a lot of work.
So where do you have 5 in this series?
I will. I'll write Merit Forever, I think, because she comes calling. I don't sit down and go, okay, I need to write a Merit Bridges book. She comes knocking on my door mentally with some idea, and then I can't let it go. So we'll see what she comes up with next. There are several things that I have in mind, but we'll see.
And do you have any thought about how frequently you want to launch a new book?
Well, I'd like to do 1 a year minimum. I've done 3 in the last 2 years, so that's a pretty good average. I have some friends who are they can knock out a book in 90 days. They go from beginning to, and they're the most. They're the most successful people that I know personally. I have one friend, John Ellsworth, who also writes legal thrillers and has mentored me somewhat along the way. And his books are great. He has a huge following. And he has, I think, 19 books now or 20 books. And there's another fellow who writes not legal thrillers, but just mysteries. And he's got the same track record going. He's got, the more books he writes, the more he sells. And they tend to sell backwards from the latest book always.
Because you're building that fan base, the people that want that next book, and they can't wait for that next book. So I think that's great. And I think, Russell, once you get past book 2, your fan base remembers you again, then we remind them of Russell. No, I'm just teasing him, because
I'm always building my mailing list, always. And I know Amy probably has talked about that on other broadcasts, because she's savvy about that. But I'm always, no matter what I do, I'm building my mailing list. I give a talk called Legal Issues for Authors, and I actually gave it at a conference where Russell was also a speaker there at Rice University in Houston. We were there year before last, and I pass around a sign-up sheet for my newsletter, and I give away all kinds of handouts, and I give away things to other authors, so that then I have their email address, and they can always unsubscribe, but most of them don't. And then when I do a freebie or I do something special, then I've got that place to let people know what I'm doing and what I'm up to.
So let me ask you, along the lines of marketing and what we're doing, what we're all doing, do you know Pamela Hutchins?
I do.
So, she recommends that you have your first book to eventually be perma-free. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's not my thought right now. I'm not saying I won't come around to that, but she has a lot of books.
Yes, she does.
I think it depends.
So at some point you'd be open to doing something like that. So
I'll just have to see what the climate is when I get to the point where that might be doable. Right now,
Amy said herself that things change in 3 months.
Right.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I just know that some of the authors I know that are making more money, and I know Pamela really supports herself and her husband. She's an attorney also, and she and her husband both gave up their practices to do this full time because they were making enough money. And she said that happened after she made the first one free. And I can tell you from my experience with her books, I did download that free one and read it, and I have read everything she's written since then, except the one that she just came out with recently. I mean, I got to where I knew those people, and she wrote about different people, but they all knew each other. So, like first there's this one group, and then these two, I absolutely look forward to every book she writes. So I can see where that philosophy would pay off, especially if you're going to be writing about the same people. You may at some point have another protagonist that you write about, and you continue with Merritt, and then you have another one. So any thoughts about where your writing career is going?
Well, I have a secret. I'm working on a series right now that I'm not ready to talk about yet, but I will be talking about it soon. I'm going to bring it out at the Texas Book Festival in October, at the end of October here in Austin, and it'll be a different kind of series. But I will always write Merritt, so I'll be working on the 4th Merritt. My goal is to get to 5 Merritt Bridges thrillers, and then I can do box sets with the first 3. I can have more flexibility about what I do with giveaways and that type of thing. So I'll be running both of those trains simultaneously.
Well, that just sounds exciting. I can't wait. And actually Manning contacted me to see about helping her with this launch, but it was a week out, and you already had so many things going on. I'm like, you're on the right track. I'll be here if you have a question or anything, but you're doing a good job. So congratulations.
I got to tell you, it's a real pleasure. We've spoken in the last few weeks with several authors that came out with books, and they did no or hardly any publicity. It's kind of refreshing to hear Manning's complete plan and how she executed.
Well, there are blogs everywhere that I'm sure you've seen, but there are 2 blogs that I read pretty much all the time. One is Joanna Penn, Penn.
Yay, me too.
And she does a lot for authors. She's a Brit. Also, Mark Dawson is a Brit, and he has courses about launching. But I don't stick solely to what they do, but I use a lot of their tips. It's good to read their information, because they feel the market before I do. Because I am one person, I cannot tell what turns in the market, like Amy was talking about, who's on top right now and what's most popular. And they're usually out ahead of that. There's a guy named Joel Friedman, I think is his name. The book Friedman. Mm-hmm. And he has a good blog. So I think it's worthwhile to find the bloggers who really know what's going on and read their blogs and see, try to keep up. Also, once you get on one of these free services like FreeBooksy, I've never been able to be on FreeBooksy, which is a service for, they get out to their mailing list when you have a free book. Well, I've never had a free book before this launch, so I've never used it. It was astronomical. I must have had 3,000 people get the book free before we even hit the end of the day, before we even hit the time that people get off work. So and then FreeBooksy leads to Bargain Booksy if you want to just do a discount. And, there are all kinds of people out there, but there are so many that it's very hard to pick and choose. So you have to belong to either blogs or I'm in a group, an indie author group, and we keep each other informed. It's very helpful to have other people and be able to say, okay, well, what are you bidding on a book by that like right now? What are you bidding on an Amazon ad per click right now? And you can figure out what the going rate is or what you might want to add 5 cents more per click in order to get your book in front of people. So,
and that's one of the things that Russell did. Now, Russell, the FreeBooksy is also the one we used for your book launch. You're right, we had more people download his free book than I've ever had. And that was just amazing. And I have told him, I give a lot of credit to the FreeBooksy. Now I use a lot of other things too. And I would love to keep this discussion going, but we are like running out of time. So Manning, stay tuned. We want to have you back again. And a few months from now, let's talk and see how things are going. And we'll come back and talk about the results of all the marketing that you're doing and that you've done.
I'd enjoy that. Thank you very much.
Good. So any last word from you, Russell?
Happy 4th of July.
4th of July. I forgot about 4th of July. I got so caught up in the marketing of the book. Yes, Wednesday is the 4th of July. So happy Independence Day. Thank you, Russell, for the reminder. And I want to say a quick also hello to Rose Bruno Bailey. Rose, I see you're watching. Darnell Wright, Elizabeth McCreary, Mac Little. Hi, Mac. Valerie, I saw earlier that you had said something, so glad to have you with us. And Fern Brady. Yay, Fern, I need to talk to you, so give me a call.
Hi, Fern.
Yay. So, Amy, any last word from you?
No, happy 4th of July. And Manning, thank you so much for coming on. It was very inspiring, and I learned a lot. So it's great.
Yeah, I think it's kind of inspirational. I'm a little jealous of you.
Well, we'll get together and cross promote.
He said that live on a recording. Oh my God.
I'll make that my phone ring.
And so for all of you watching, tonight is the last night of our course, Back to Basics. And we're going to be talking about online, online media, how to get online. And Amy will be sharing stuff on Facebook, and all the others. We'll be talking about blogs, we'll be talking about podcasts, all the ways that you, the author, can be promoting your books online. So great example of everything, Manning. And so I do invite anyone that's interested. This is the last one, and this is the only time, but if you're interested in attending the course tonight as my guest, give me a comment here and I will send you the link so you can join us. It is a Zoom call. We are all online. And if you haven't listened to last week's on the pitch, we had the best story last week. So Marilyn Harris, who will be our guest next Monday on July 9th, talked about her trip to LA and where she joined this Writers Guild in LA and went for a year to be trained on how to pitch to Hollywood. And she did her pitch. And so great experience. She shared all that she learned about pitching. So she's going to be our guest next week with her story. So thank you all for joining us today. We will see you, and leave your name and comments in the on on Facebook, and we'll get back to you. Bye.
Bye.